Have you ever wondered what the big four partners get paid? Come on, of course you have. After all, they are at the top of the tree. So I did some research to find out what are the UK big four partners paid. And let me give you the exact numbers. So Deloitte, on average, the partners got paid £854,000 in the financial year 2020-2021. That was up 17%. Of course, the previous year will have had the impact of the pandemic. PwC, that was 868,000 per partner. Now, they also published their executive pay. So the chairperson got 4.4 million and the management board shared 26 million between each other. Nice. KPMG was actually the lowest paid partner in the big four of 688,000, but that's up from a poor year in 2019 to 2020, impact of the pandemic, of 572,000. EY, 749,000. Now, interestingly, BDO, which is often seen as the top of the mid-tier, the challenger, actually had an amazing year. And their partners shared £760,000. Now, for me, that's the first time I can recall that BDO or Grant Thornton has paid their partners more than one of the big four. Now, I've been talking about big four partners' pay, but let's be honest, big four partners don't get paid. Whoa, well, of course they get paid, but not in that conventional sense. You see, on the first day of joining the big four as a partner, the first thing you'll do in the UK is you'll resign to then be admitted as self-employed to the partnership. So you are, as a partner, you are self-employed. Your pay is actually the profits from the firm. And you can go to any of the big four, look at their latest annual report, look for their average profit distribution per partner, and it will tell you the average profit that is given out to the partners. So in practice, what typically happens is the following. So you get the ranks of the junior partners, which are often called fixed share equity partners, where they have a fixed share of equity, i.e. they own a slice of the firm. And then you have full equity partners, which are partners that have got to the maximum level of equity they can. Now, when you get to full equity, you get more voting rights, you have greater privileges, you've got more influence. These are typically your heads of office, your heads of service line. And so typically what will happen in most firms is that partners will be guaranteed a level of income. Now, if you're a fixed share partner, i.e. you only have a small amount of equity, you'll often get a bonus based on performance. Personal performance, maybe departmental performance. If you're then a full equity partner, typically you'll get a guaranteed amount of drawings, you'll get a bonus based on your individual performance, and then very often there is a pot that is held back of profit that is shared out purely between the full equity partners. So you're now thinking, well, how do I pay for this share? So what happens when you become a partner is you in effect become a business owner. So you have to buy in. You don't just suddenly go, oh, I'm a partner, I get to share the profits. No. You actually have to buy a slice of the firm. Now, even a really small sliver could be costing you £250,000. When I was at BDO back in the early 2000s, the buying amount was set in at £60,000. And you might be sitting here going, but where can I afford that amount of money? What typically happens in the big firms is that they will organise a partnership loan for you. And then what typically happens is you pay off the interest on the loan. You'll often pay off maybe a slight bit of the capital on the loan, and then you take your drawings from that after that. So what you get, your initial drawings aren't necessarily what comes straight into your bank account. The next thing is, of course, when you've resigned from the partnership, resigned from being an employee, you're now self-employed. Now, these big firms will have organised pension scheme, benefits, all of this sort of stuff, but this will also come out of your drawings. So the amount of profits that's shared with you isn't what goes into your bank account, because you'll have your, things like your life insurance, your pension payments, your private health will need to get paid off. Then, of course, you'll need to pay off the interest on your partnership loan. You might even then pay off a little bit of capital. You may even then buy another slice of equity, and some of your drawings may go to that. So that drawings figure won't necessarily represent what comes into your bank account. Now, those figures I gave you at the top were the average profit distribution. Not every partner in EY is going to went home in the financial year 2020 to 2021 with £750,000. So how does it work out? Well, the full equity partners, remember what I told you earlier, they often have this separate pot that they share. So, of course, they're going to be on slightly more than, say, the new audit partner that's only been in the firm 2 years. They're in the partnership 2 years. There are parts of the firm that are often more profitable, so corporate finance, tax, consulting. So you may find that they're at the higher end of what they get in terms of their drawings. You may find that the sort of audit partners are at the lower end of the drawing. So it depends on your service line. It also depends on your seniority. It also depends on the amount of equity you now own in the firm to how much you get paid. So what happened as a result of COVID? Well, you look at the results of the firms in their financial year 2019 to 2020, and typically what we saw was a dip in income. And in fact, many of those firms, when March 2020 hit, actually the partners all agreed not to take drawings for 3 months, i.e. they were not going to take cash out of the firm in order to keep the firm afloat. So they basically didn't pay themselves for 3 months to keep cash within the firm. And this is worth noticing because of the following is, as a business owner, it's not about a guaranteed salary. You typically, as a partner within a big four, what you're getting paid is actually the profit of the firm. You are responsible for the future sustainability of the firm, and you will get these one-off major events, hopefully no more pandemics in our lifetime, which mean that as a partner you're required to stop taking money out of the firm. Now, a lot of firms might have something called a cash collection, where the partnership needs to recapitalize the firm. You won't typically see this in a big four or a BDO, but you might see it in a mid-tier firm. Maybe a big long-standing partner wants to take leave and take their capital with them, and so something needs to be recapitalized. Maybe money's got to be found for maybe a new building, and partners will be asked to chip in an extra 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 to help recapitalize the firm. And so we saw some of that stuff happening as a result of COVID-19. But what has happened since COVID-19? So I'm now talking in early summer 2022. So most of the firms have just finished their financial year, so they haven't declared their results yet and how much the partners will have made in the financial year 2021 to 2022. But what we're seeing is most of these firms have grown their revenue by 5 to 20%. So after a year where they had reduced profits, so reduced drawings, i.e. salary big four partner pay is reduced, we're seeing a rebound. So if you were wondering what are big four partners paid, you've first of all got to remember that they're not being paid because they're self-employed. What they're getting is a share of the profits of the firm. The second thing you've got to remember is that the average profit distribution per partner, which you'll see in the annual reports of all of the big four, is an average. There's going to be people that are way higher and there's going to be people that are way lower. In fact, a newly admitted partner may actually be getting not too dissimilar once you've taken the fact that they're repaying a loan, that they've now got to pay out of their drawings for their things like insurances and private medical and pension. You may find that they're not getting that much more than a high paid director that's had a good bonus that year. So just remember that. It often takes a few years for that accelerated remuneration. I don't want to say big four partner pay because that's not quite right, as we just discovered, but also now realize that the BDO partners actually received more last year than both EY and KPMG partners. So when we're talking about big four partner pay, we mustn't discount BDO, which is now very much coming a very profitable firm. But typically, most Big Four partners average is around about 700 to about 900K is what they do. Now, if you're a full equity partner, you're going to be higher than that. If you're in the more profitable areas of the firm, like consulting, you're going to be earning more than the average. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of insight to what do Big Four partners actually get paid.